I've always pronounced your name a little differently too.
Yes,
But
yes, you have. I'll break it down.
Rickard, Rick Ford.
I'll break it down from a
Oh,
fanatics.
hey, I've got amazing news. I think I see our Betters Clubhouse spokesperson approaching right now.
Well, we need someone to help us get through this process.
Yeah.
Hey, am I on at all?
Oh.
Wait, can you guys hear me now too?
Yeah.
Hey, let's get this thing cranked up.
Something's
We
going
can't see.
on.
I was about ready to put up the white flag because we got a little storm looming, and it's been a little stormy getting the show kicked off. But
We've had some challenges.
let's go with
but we
the
made it through.
let's go with the audio for now. John Rager, why don't you introduce our favorite guest each and every week when he's not ill, and that is Adam Woodard.
You know, he's been such a regular contributor to On the Tee Florida. It's just increasingly hard to come up with something novel and interesting. But this is one of the world of golf's most interesting people. So here we go. Ready? Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, On the Tee Florida, the 6:16 p.m. pairing. The man who is the headmaster of golf's leading journalists and golf reporters, not to be confused with the person who is one of the greatest professional Disc Golf Association players of all time. Let's welcome the editor of the FriedEgg.com, Adam Woodard.
You're gonna need to explain the
is.
Disc Golf Association connection there, because that one just flew right over my head. I thought I was a pretty well-read and bright guy, but John, what are we talking about here with that one?
Well, you know, what you have to do is research, and so when you use the variety of AI engines out there, Grok, Gemini, Meta, Microsoft Copilot, you go in there, and I just typed in, who is Adam Woodard golf? All right. Well, there's another Adam Woodard that's one of the all-time greats in the Professional Disc Golf Association, but they say not to confuse it with you as the Adam Woodard of golf.
That's shocking that anybody would confuse me with anybody successful like that. But yeah, happy to be back, and yeah, luckily to Johnny. I like you said, it's tough to keep coming with introductions, but you still find a way. So we're a couple years into this now, but yet you still keep coming with the heat. So it's very much appreciated. But enough about me. Let's talk a little golf here, shall we?
Exactly. Let's talk a little Arnold Palmer Invitational.
Yeah.
Or should we start with Shane? Shane Lowry.
No,
we're not going to go backwards at this
Positivity.
point. Positivity.
Behind,
I know. It's so sad.
He did such a good job at the
We'll leave it with Adam
when he blew it. But
I'll say one thing on that. One thing on that real quick. Given the stuff that happened last year, Colin Morikawa, the whole I don't owe anybody anything. Even Shane at one point came out and said last year, we need more time in between this because I'm fuming and I'm mad. For him to get out, and I know it's you're supposed to do it, but I still think we need to commend athletes when you go through something like truly just heart-wrenching, just gut-wrenching loss like that. I mean, that's as bad as you can lose a tournament, and that's as bad as you can give one away. For him to stand up, say what he said, took it on the chin. I have a lot of respect for Shane Lowry and had a hell of a lot of respect for him before last week, even more now. Great guy for the game. Glad we have him around. Truly hope that he's got some good stuff coming down the line for him, because he's a guy that speaks his mind. You never have to worry about what he's thinking about, and I just hope all the good things happen to him. So tough loss, but the utmost credit to him for taking it on the chin and talking about it right after.
The only thing that was touching to me, because he's a tough Irishman, but when he brought up the fact that his 2-year-old had not seen him win. And he was looking so forward. In fact, he had thought about it as he was approaching the 16. I'm going to be able to finally, for the first time, have my little daughter see Daddy win. That got
Mike,
to me.
There's an expression in golf: to be a good golfer, you have to have a bad memory.
Well, he obviously has been through it before, but that memory I don't know is gonna if that's gonna ever go away because of the fact that the emotional equity with his daughter.
Adam, Champ here, happy to join here. I know I'm catching the conversation a little bit late, but I was just
actually not really.
Not really.
We got started a little late today. So
you tricked me on that one.
You timed it perfectly.
Perfectly. I guess a segue to there. Unfortunately, my buddy Sammy was on Shane Lowry last week, and I think an only thing to double down worse than that is that I was on Hideki Matsuyama at the Phoenix Open So I didn't know if you had any parallels between those two. Obviously, we talked to Bill Butner last week just how difficult that bear trap is. But any combination just between that and what Hideki Matsuyama struggled down the stretch at the Phoenix Open? Any parallels that you can draw from both of those?
Other than the fact that golf is hard and the PGA Tour is probably deeper than it's been in God knows how long. So just the smallest of mistakes like that, the margins were already thin at that level. But you go to a course like, and especially, I guess the parallel would be that finishing stretch at both courses, right? I know, the bear trap gets talked about a lot. I don't think it's usually as tough or as penal as the name makes it out to be. But it delivers, and it constantly delivers, and it did this weekend. And I know that final stretch at Scottsdale doesn't quite get a whole lot of respect, and obviously people know the party hole, the par 3 there, the stadium hole. But it's not a difficult finishing stretch, so you got to really be on your business down the stretch finishing there. And if you're not, you can get bit, and those two guys both did.
I mean, just looking at next week as well, obviously you got the closing stretch this week at Bay Hill. Obviously that par 3, 17th, one of the toughest. And if you drive it in the rough on 18, good luck making a par from there. If we fast forward even to next week, the Players Championship, obviously 16, 17, 18 there, looking there, and even coming home right after that, Valspar right in our backyard with the Snake Pit. So out of those, I know I asked Bill Butner last week, he kind of gave his opinion saying Snake Pit of those, if the wind's not blowing. Which one of those for yours down the stretch are you probably calling a timeout there and having to see what the pulse rate is on your side there, Adam?
Yeah, definitely Snake Pit, but if the wind's going, especially. Yeah. I think there's really I think it's the rest are good, but I think especially when the wind is going, I think that's got a bit more legs to it and can cause you to trip up a little bit more.
You're listening to On the Tee Florida. We're live from Sea Dogs Brewing down here and Sunset Beach, Treasure Island, Florida, on the Intercoastal. Looks like there's going to be another nice sunset. Of course, we'll be looking at sunset about 7:35 a week from tonight versus 6:35, and it's a spectacular location. Come on down and see us, and have a ice pick vodka, maybe a little Shipyard. Blue Paw?
Blue Paw, and I definitely need a hangover burger after Shane Lowry last week to finish that. So
I know.
You got to need about one a day, I think, there actually to handle that one. Obviously,
I had my hangover burger today already.
And you might need one in about a week's time as well for St. Patty's Day.
That's true.
Down here as well. Come on down.
We're gearing up.
March Madness, full in stale, starting us up here. But might as well come down for breakfast as well there, Mike. Obviously, Charlie Brickiron and company do a great job for the Ohio State University Buckeyes there. Come on down. Intercoastal. I mean, driving through the rain, I saw a couple of rainbows this week already. I mean, the only question is, Adam, when are we going to get your butt down here and enjoying a Shipyard brew?
Not soon enough, unfortunately, I think is the answer to that question always. But it has to happen, though. It absolutely has to happen. We're well past due, no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the announcement that Luke Donald is going to be the captain again for the third consecutive time for the Europeans, which does not bode well for the Americans.
No, it certainly doesn't. But is anybody truly surprised other than the fact that they went with someone 3 times in a row? He's the obvious choice. He's the clear and running away choice to do it, especially after a lot of the guys who would have been in the running to do this have kind of, lit that chance on fire after they went to LIV and, the way they handled their business after they joined LIV. This could have been an Ian Poulter. This could have been a Lee Westwood. This could have been a potential Graham McDowell. This could have been Luke Donald if Hendrik Stenson would have done his 2 had he not gotten bounced after he took the job and then went to LIV and then wondered why he couldn't do the job even though he went to LIV. For people that might not understand, the Ryder Cup and the DP World Tour are connected. So if you're going to leave the DP World Tour behind, chances are, it's going to impact negatively on your Ryder Cup future. But it was the easy, clear away running choice. They've got something cooking there. He's got a mix of really strong veteran players and a crop of young talent coming through that he's got to play with. If I'm an American player or an American fan, which I am, I'm not looking forward to a Dare Manor now in a couple of years. I'm just not sure what the Americans are going to be able to do over there, especially with the continuity that the Europeans are going to have coming back for a third stint in a row with Luke Donald at the helm.
Well, another storyline that I'm sure you're watching very closely, and that is, of course, the James Harding event, and Zach Johnson, who just turned 50 last week, making his debut on the Champions Tour. I'm sure that was on the calendar for you, as much as you love my great state of Iowa, Zach Johnson, and of course the Champions Tour.
And this is, I love to throw shade Zach Johnson's way, especially knowing your connection with him. However, I will say I'm excited to see Zach kind of take this next phase in his career, see what he can do on the Champions Tour. But I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit more excited about Ben Crane making his PGA Tour Champions debut. The Golf Boys back in the day, those videos, I thought those were fantastic. I got a big kick out of those. A young Ricky Fowler. It was just, I loved those videos as a kid. I thought they were so fun. We didn't really see golfers do kind of fun, goofy
Bubba.
stuff. Bubba too, for sure. Yeah, all of it. Yeah, it's who was the fourth one? Was it
Hunter Mahan?
Wasn't like Hunter Mahan? Yeah,
Hunter
I was gonna say Webb Simpson, but no. It's
You mean
Hunter
Happy
Mahan.
Gilmore?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I actually
But
have a
no,
great
those golf
head cover
boys
that has
videos were great. But
Bubba in overalls.
yeah,
Love that. Yeah, I mean, obviously going back to that.
the coveralls. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Oh, what a look.
I was saying
What
I
a
have like
look.
a head cover that has him in overalls. I've got to bring it onto the show. That would be great for the table.
Please
Love
do.
that.
That
Obviously-
would be fantastic. I want to see it.
Obviously,
Yeah.
down here at Sea Dogs tonight, 8 o'clock, Iowa Hawkeyes basketball there, Mike, playing against Michigan. But going back to that Ryder Cup,
That's going to be an ass beating.
we'll see. We'll see if the corn can stalk and
Well,
rise
not the
there.
corn. That's the corn huskers. That's the Skurs.
There you go. But looking back at that Ryder Cup, yes, heavy favorites for Euro right now, minus 155. You got to put $155 there, actually, to win $100 back. And Sea Dogs
Perfect.
Bucks there. Heavy favorites there on the juice there. Kind of like Michigan over Iowa tonight. Minus 8.5 there, Mike, on that line as well. But, yeah, I mean, I think for me,
It's not so bad.
coming forward, Florida swing there for me. And one guy that's a key hort that we've got to get this guy off the team there, Adam. I know you and the guys over there at Fried Golf have a heck of an interview coming up at 8 o'clock right after this show. They can head on over and check that out. What are some tidbits you can give the patrons here of a little bit of that interview with one other than Roy McIlroy?
Yeah, so we had our guy Kevin Van Valkenburg go out to Riviera for the Genesis this week, and we were able to get some time with Rory. It's a very wide-ranging conversation. We probably talked to him for, I don't know, close to about an hour. We got that condensed down into a pretty solid interview. But yeah, that'll be coming on the Fried Egg Golf YouTube channel tonight, 8 o'clock. It'll also be featured in some of our podcasts tomorrow and throughout the weekend. Head over to our website to see that, or go to our YouTube. It's great. He talks a lot about, his legacy in the game, how he wants to have a legacy, what he wants that legacy to be. I think this is some of the most eye-opening things he talked about. Nothing overly explosive. I know he had a lot to say about John Rahm earlier this week, so kind of bummed we didn't get him after that to get some of those comments. But he talked a lot about his legacy and his new career goals now that he's got the career Grand Slam, and what he wants to do next, and talked a lot about his kid and stuff too. Very wide-ranging. The one thing I love about Rory, other than the way he plays, is that he's the type of guy, if you ask him a thoughtful question, he's going to give you a thoughtful answer. Our guy KVV is one of the more thoughtful writers and people in the game of golf, especially in the writing space. So really great interview. There's going to be a lot of stuff in there that I'm sure is going to get aggregated just to the moon. But we got some really good stuff from Rory, talking players, his legacy, and all that. So check that out today.
Adam, could you tell our listeners, or kind of maybe explain for us a little bit of the drama between John Rahm and Rory? I know there were some comments about that he may not want to go to South Africa, and could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so this goes back to John and a bunch of the other players who were former DP World Tour members who then went to live because they played in conflicting events with the DP World Tour schedule. They were fined. A lot of those guys never paid those fines. Those guys, they keep coming and coming and coming. So what the DP World Tour has done in order to get some of those players back, in order to retain their membership and in good standing, they said you have to pay your fines in full. You have to play a minimum of 6 events a season. Up from the normal 4 that there usually are, and 2 of those events the DP World Tour is stipulating you have to go to. Off the top of my head, I think I've got them, but I don't want to say it and be wrong. But you can look it up; it's all out there. But everybody but one player, I think it's 8 or 9 guys, have signed this contract. John Rahm is the only one who has not. He is 10
Oh,
toes
wow.
down, standing on his petty principled business. I kind of understand it. I also kind of don't. John views himself as like the second coming of Sevi, and the way he talks about himself and his legacy in the
Gotcha.
game, and always playing in Spain. Sevi stood on business, and he kind of, he wasn't afraid to, throw some shade the DP World Tour's way. They had a falling out. This is going to be that. And the problem is if you're not a DP World Tour member, you cannot play in the Ryder Cup for Team Europe, going back to that connection that we talked about earlier. So if Jon Rahm does not pay his fines and become a member, or if they don't get something worked
There you
out,
go.
there is a very, very real chance that we will not see Jon Rahm at the 2027 Ryder Cup. Do I
Wow,
think
that'd be
that's going to
crazy.
happen? Absolutely not.
Okay.
He's going to
Exactly.
play.
Well,
He's
you
going to
never know.
pay. He'll figure it out. There's no way he's going to be this petty about principles. There's just not. He could pay this fine
He's a
100
Spaniard.
times over. He's fiery and he's got his stuff, but the thing is, like, and he contradicts himself so much now. And I could
Exactly,
really go
Adam.
off
That's
on
exactly
this,
what I was
but
going to say.
he-
Is like
he doesn't stop contradicting himself.
Exactly
It's,
right. I
it's
think when he
terrible,
talked
and
about
like it's. Yeah, go ahead. I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I think for me, it was just like the 4, can I play in 4 tournaments? Okay, I'll do it. But if you say 6, 2 more tournaments is way too much. It's like, do you own it or not? It's just the contradictory there. And play golf and grow the game, yet 2 months later is behind it. I don't like it, but I do look forward to him in Augusta. Curious to see how that goes. But yeah, it's frustrating that it'd be there. But push comes to shove, he will be on that Ryder Cup team. You can almost guarantee that one, right, Adam?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And like the thing with that I find so frustrating is the fact that like a couple of years ago before he went to live, he was one of the more like the best interviews to have in golf, right? He was incredibly thoughtful with his answers. He always gave you a great answer. He didn't sugarcoat anything. But now it just seems like he's so privileged in what he's got that he wants everything to go his way on his terms, right? He's not willing to see that, hey, you know what? I did kind of light all of this on fire when I went to live, right? And he's just thinking that there should be no repercussions for that. Like actions have reactions. Like there are consequences to actions that he just is completely blowing past. And to say things like, I don't want to be mandated where I play. I want to be able to pick my own schedule. Dude, 14 events a year. You're not choosing where you play. Live is choosing where you have to go every single week.
Right.
You can't sit out any of those. So like, it's just so frustrating to see kind of what he's become these last few years. I still love watching him. I still love hearing him talk during majors and the way he's able to put into perspective what he sees on the golf course and explain it to all of us who are never going to have any idea what it's like to be in some of those major championship moments. But dude, read the room. Like, just figure it out. And it's just so frustrating to see what he's become these last few years.
You're listening and watching, hopefully, the On the Tee Florida live from Sea Dogs down here at Treasure Island and Sunset Beach. John Rager's up there at St. Augustine Beach. And, John, you obviously have another question for our favorite panelist, and that is Adam Woodard.
Hey, Adam, I was thinking about you the other day. I've had the good fortune of being able to be part of a development team that has built 6 golf courses from the ground up, all vertical improvements, the whole thing. And I was just going through my library the other day, which, we don't have those anymore. You have everything's online. And I found this book. It's called Golf Course Design. Now, you might like this. I don't know if you've read this book or not, but because friedegg.com goes into golf course architecture, was very unique of all the golf websites out there and portals. They don't cover it. So this book, it's probably hard for our viewers to see this, but this book was written by Robert Murrell Graves and Jeffrey Cornish. And, and I looked through it because this is a book I actually referred to. It was published in 1998, but these people obviously have a wealth of knowledge of golf course development, and it's almost timeless. So I would encourage the folks out there that go to friedegg.com, you may want to take a look at this golf course design book, because even what they're doing today still holds true, 50 years later. So this is not supposed to be a book review here on the Tee Florida, but I thought you'd appreciate seeing a book like this, and for your writers and that write about golf courses and the designs, especially since you had to design the whole contest out there. And so I was just thinking about it the other day when I pulled that book out of my library. and took a look at it.
Well, John, I think about you often too, so it's good to see that that's reciprocated. But Friday golf.
It's a bromance. It's a bromance.
I don't want to hear that.
Hey, John, is that a green reading book? Because I think those are outlawed on the PGA Tour, but it does look green and looks like you can read it. So I don't know if it's a green reading book or not.
Well, it's a book. It doesn't. It has pictures in it too. So if you want to.
Hey, those are the best kind.
I'm all right. I'm all right
book.
then. It's got pictures. I'm good. I'm good to go.
Hey, but Adam, those two people were the most foremost golf course designers in the world, and they've imparted their knowledge into that. And I thought that was pretty interesting because nowadays everything's online. When I was developing golf courses, you had to have this huge corporate library, and you would grab every piece of paper, every manual, every book, everything you can find to be able to design a golf course. And nowadays it's all online. But I thought that was pretty interesting. So. Again, not a book review, but actually I thought that was pretty interesting. Next time I see you, I'll lend you the book in case you want to catch up on some stuff out there and see how old school architects did things.
I have a list of books actually on like golf course design that I'm going through and reading now, trying to get myself up to speed because I am so far and away like the novice of all novices when it comes to that in a company full of very bright people when it comes to golf course design and architecture. So it's like every day's a school day here at Friday Golf. But if you like books about architecture, shameless plug here, we actually published our own book last year on golf course architecture and design a little bit, highlighting the 20 courses that kind of founded our company. So if you like this show, you'll definitely like that. So check it out. And we got a reorder of those coming out here in the next couple months. So start planning ahead for Father's Day and all that stuff now. And it's a perfect coffee table book and a gift for a golf lover in your family.
And I'll have to get us one for our set down here at Sea Dogs.
Yes.
All right, let's ask another question. Of course, it's Arnold Palmer Invitational, and Rickie Fowler getting the Arnie Award. I thought was superb, very cool. He was emotional about it. He loved the king as most people did. But your perspective there?
Fitting. Absolutely fitting. They've had a relationship. They had a relationship for a very long time. Anytime Rickie talks about Arnie, I interviewed Rickie for something for Golf Week a few years ago, and I can't remember how Arnie came up. It might have been before the API, and he was talking about it. Just the way his face lights up whenever he talked about Arnie and the stories he would tell about the conversations they would have in his office and stuff like that was always a bright spot. Whenever I think about my reporting career. But it's fitting, right? Rory's kind of one of those people, kind of like Arnie became. Like Rory's gonna be, one of the faces of the tour for a very long time, even though he might not have the wins to show it, or he certainly hasn't played to the level in his career that Arnie did in his. But he's kind of like a statesman for the game, if that kind of makes sense. And if you guys kind of pick up what I'm putting down there, Rory's going to be, or not Rory, Rickie's going to be around for a very long time. He's going to be a guy that's probably never going to lose his tour card, but he's also probably not going to win a whole lot and be in the conversation. But he's a good statesman for the tour. He definitely has done a lot for the tour over the years and bringing in new fans with his different deals and the orange and stuff. You still can't walk around PGA Tour tournaments without seeing a bunch of little kids, decked out in the all orange Puma gear like Rickie was. So he's definitely had an impact on the game at a pretty young part of his career. And I'm sure he'll do plenty more in his career, but yeah, fitting to see Rickie get honored like that, especially given the fact that he did have such a great relationship with Arnie while he was with us.
Hey, Adam, there's a famous interview with Rickie Fowler and Arnold Palmer when they were early on in his career, when he started playing in the Bay Hill Classic before it was named the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and he would play in that. And I remember Mr. Palmer would have TV interviews, with players that are doing well, and they had an interview with Rickie, and he wore his hat inside. And I guess at Bay Hill, you do not wear a hat inside. And he's sitting there with Mr. Palmer, and Mr. Palmer reminded him about wearing his hat inside the clubhouse, and Rickie took that hat off real quick, and yes, sir, Mr. Palmer, no problem.
I heard that story today, similar. I was going to ask the same question. They said that actually somebody told Rickie to get it off. Arnold didn't, but the same result. He appreciated it when he did. But he walked in, and from that day, he revered him.
So Adam,
either way, Bay Hill, very, very proper. No hats inside Bay Hill. That is known. You don't do that.
How the hell does John Rager get on the grounds? He goes everywhere with his hat.
Oh no, there's places you walk in.
Maybe not Bay Hill.
You just don't wear a hat.
So Adam,
a lot of golf courses are like that. In fact, there's there's a golf course just not too far away from the Tampa Bay area called Black Diamond, famous golf course, quarry holes, and they are super strict. I remember playing in PJ section tournaments there, and you would the pro when we would get ready to go tee off had to make this announcement: whatever you do, there's 2 things you got to do today, and if you do that, my job is safe. 1, keep your shirt tucked in, and number 2, take your hat off when you walk in the clubhouse. And that was it. I mean, the pro actually was saying, I'll get fired if you guys, misbehave and walk in the clubhouse with your hat on.
That's right.
It's getting stiff in here.
So Adam, just a question. We started out, your guy, Scotty Scheffler. I think we can say he's
my guy.
Your guy now, right?
Gets off the
I
slow
love him.
start.
Yeah.
Still comes in strong, Adam. You know how it goes.
Go out on a limb.
You know, it made news that he kicked off this tournament with a new TaylorMade driver. Do you think that's going to give him any kind of advantage, or do you?
Not today. It didn't there, Ashley.
2 under, right?
This stuff takes time. I mean, I didn't see what he ended up finishing at, but if it was 2 under, that's a better start than he's had the last few weeks. So it might not be the greatest thing in the world, but it's gonna be better. But it takes time for these guys to really get used to, to this new equipment and all that. Especially with the driver. Scotty's a guy that really doesn't mess with his equipment a lot or his setup. So I think it's it's definitely a big deal when he does make a move. Right. So, I mean, we saw what happened last year. He was, dedicated to keeping that putter. Rory says Scotty should switch to a mallet, or 2 years ago, Scotty switched to a mallet. It's over, right? He's by far and away the best player in the world. So when he makes a switch, it's because he genuinely believes that he needs to. He's not a tinkerer. He's not a guy that's going to play with this stuff like that, like some of these guys will. So if he's doing it, he thinks it's going to be it's going to be a big help, and it'll take a little time to do it. And he's definitely has enough time, to build up before the Masters to get used to it if he ends up keeping it in the bag.
I mean, Ashley, if anything, Bay Hill is a course that is very tough to hit fairways, so he can drive it a little bit more wayward here. It is going to be firmer. As we know, we really haven't seen much rain down here in Florida in the past outside of my drive down here from Tampa. But
Today,
he finished 18th in the field, strokes gained off the tee ranking there. Finished at 2 under par. Likes of Rory McIlroy was 3rd, but finished even thanks to a 68 out of 72 players in approach there. Aldrich Potgieter, one of the longest drivers out, 4th there, is DFL on the list there. So obviously you'll need the full tee to green game at Bay Hill, but just as Adam said, he's got this week, he's got next week at Players, and then obviously I expect him to go up to Memorial Park and play it in the Houston as well prior to Augusta, and then that's where he's kind of probably dial it in. But these guys, obviously a money grab this week in honor of the King. And also, shout out to the best probably Sports Center commercial ever, which would be Arnold Palmer doing the lemonade, doing the iced tea, and just the golf clap as SVP. And a shout out to Stuart Scott as well. Gotta love that classic. Sports Center. Is that your top Sports Center commercial there, Adam?
No, I don't think it's my favorite. I have to really think about which one would be my favorite. But I will say the first time I ever met SVP at the Masters, I brought that up. And it's like, how awesome was the Arnold commercial? He was like, it was the easiest thing we ever had to do. He was like, all I had to do is just say that was awesome. And just stand there, him and I was it. I don't know if it was Stuart Scott or maybe it was Stan Verrett, one of the two. But them just sitting there, just jaws dropped, just in amazement. Every time I think about it, it makes me laugh. That's always a good one. Anytime they use the mascots, I'm a sucker for that. Like when they have the Florida Gator for the golf stuff or something like that. The crowd of people following Tiger through the through the cubicles and stuff, that was always a fun one. The Follow Me to Freedom with the old school one back in like the 80s, that was always a classic when it was always a really good one too. Arnie doing that commercial, all timer.
You're listening on the T Florida. We're live from Ferg's Sports and Ferg's Sea Dogs down here. Wrong night, Ferg's.
It happened.
The entire night has been confusing to me, and the old man is fumbling, stumbling, and bumbling. Let's shift gears and go to Puerto Rico, and of course he lives in the region, and that is young John Daly, shot 2 under and sits in 15th down at the Puerto Rico.
He's got some game, and he's really starting to round it and figure it out. He's obviously always been a long ball hitter, just like his dad, just like his namesake. But to see how he started to develop at Arkansas and he's really starting to how do I want to say this? Really polish those other parts of his game, right? He's becoming a better putter. His approach play is getting a lot better. When guys who are just like these speed demons like that, who have just such crazy ball speed and strength, it can be really tough with your irons, and especially the mid to length and the long length irons too, to be able to swing with and be able to have the touch that you need, and maybe even chip around the greens too. Our guy Joseph Lamagna wrote about that in the Friday Golf newsletter a couple of weeks ago. These speed guys who can struggle with approach, but you're seeing a guy like Jake Knapp is the same way, where he's got just immense speed and talent, but then he's starting to figure out his iron play, and he's playing really well too. That's something that Little John, not so Little John, if you've ever seen the guy, he's a unit. It's something that Little John can definitely do, and it's definitely a part of his game he's got to figure out. But when he's playing well in the other parts of his game and he can really let it rip with the driver, he's going to be a dangerous player coming through. Not really sure, it's probably way too early to kind of forecast what kind of a pro he's going to be, when he gets to the PGA Tour. If he even gets to the PGA Tour with how competitive stuff gets and the fewer cards, I would imagine he'll get there. But we don't know what he's going to be. But if he can play as consistently as he has been, of late, he could be a real problem here in the next couple of years for the tour.
I think he's a great player. He was in our New Year's Invitational tournament at St. Petersburg Country Club. It was 100th this past year. He's been there the last 2 years, and I think he's such a strong golfer, great player. I think he always starts out really strong. What I'd like to see for him is to have a good finish. I think somewhere in the middle there, he kind of backtracks a little bit, starts out so strong, looks so good, and so I hope for him that he can pull through.
He headed straight to the beach today.
Yeah, he said beach and nothing else. So shout out
that
to
might
that.
be good for him.
Adam, obviously the name that kind of strikes from that top of the leaderboard is one Gordon Sargent. I think from him, obviously, roller coaster of a ride is probably golfing. I mean, he could write a whole autobiography on what he's had in college and starting on the team, college team not. Obviously, we've had Brentley Romine on here trying to figure out miscuts, 7 under par today. I mean, that'd be a heck of a story for the weekend. Any thoughts that you have on the Vanderbilt Commodore?
Yeah, he's a guy that I've talked with Brentley a lot about over the last couple of years, and like you said, he could write an autobiography about his time in golf, and even just the last couple of years, like you said, by far and away probably the best player in the country to not even being able to make his team and get in the roster and get in the lineup at his school. It was a real tough look there for a little bit, but he's a resilient kid. He's a young kid. We knew he was going to figure it out. Just going to take a bit of time at some point. You've seen a guy like Nick Dunlap too, who came out firing, and then the driver yips have just completely tanked his last probably 18 or so months. But with a guy like Gordon, who, the first player to make it through PGA Tour U and earn his card that way, there was a lot of people really looking at him when he made his first Masters appearance, looking at him on the range when he played the U.S. Open. He's always had a lot of attention. It might have got to him a little bit. I don't really know. I haven't really had the chance to talk to him about it. They've kind of kept him, kind of kept that part of, his journey and his struggle, close to the chest there a little bit. But he's a heck of a player, man. He's so incredibly talented, and he's a little guy, but he can really move the ball. He's kind of like Matthew Fitzpatrick in that way, where he's not going to blow you away with his size or his stature, but get him on the course. He's going to beat you by 5 or 6, especially if he goes low. And that's the other thing we saw today. The kid can go low when he's feeling it. He can fire at pins. He's got an insane amount of confidence. And when he can back it up, he can be a really dangerous player. And we saw that down in Puerto Rico in that first round today.
Obviously, Daniel Berger leads Arnold Palmer, great 9 under par. Don't forget Luke Clanton. Luke Clanton's playing over on the other side. Another FSU alum there, finished at right at 3 under par as well. Another name I'm looking at on that board is Ricky Castillo. Played well last week at the Cognizant Classic there as well. I look for him to back it up there. Any names from that front page of that leaderboard? Kind of, because, I mean, obviously we're looking at Chandler Blanchard leading the way there. Any of the names maybe a little bit further back that people really haven't probably tuned into Arnold Palmer, but maybe looking at Puerto Rico, any names kind of stick out there? Michael Brennan up there as well. Any other names that you might keep an eye on?
I'm happy you mentioned Ricky, because I don't know if we've talked about him on the show before, but I'll talk to anybody I can about Ricky Castillo that'll let me talk about him. He's one of the swaggiest golfers I've ever seen. When he was coming through Florida, he had never had, if he's got a button, It'll be the last button is going to be Butner, the only one that ever needs to be. That kid lets the chest show. He's got the necklaces, the puka shells, the whatever it is. The kid's just got swag, the way he carries himself, the way he acts. I love him.
Does that fall into every
he's
name
always,
that has
it's always,
to be Ricky? Is that like a first name Ricky that has to have
it just
swag?
might be. If you're going to be a Ricky that plays golf,
gotta be-
if
that's
you're going to be a
right,
Ricky that plays
exactly.
golf,
Yeah.
you have to be cool. Yeah, you have to be cool. Yeah. But no, Florida coaches loved him. JC down there in Florida just raved about him when he was coming through. And then when he left, it was, he might take a bit more time to get to the tour. He's not going to be one of these bona fide guys right away, but he was always a top 10 player when he was an amateur. He was always one of the best guys making those Walker Cup teams. He's incredibly talented, another guy that can really go low and really run, but just consistency has always been a thing he's kind of struggled with, and sometimes he can get a little squirrely. But love to see him playing well. Think he could be another one of these young guys that comes through and really makes a name for himself in the next few years. Like I said, might take him a little bit longer to lock in that consistency, but the dude's an absolute dog when he's playing well. He's a lot of fun to watch, and he's a personality that the PGA Tour could really use, especially if he starts winning and getting some good results under his belt.
Look good, play good there, Ashley. As far
Yeah.
as there, I mean, you got to do
Motto.
it there. Obviously,
What are your picks there this week, champ?
yeah. I mean,
At Puerto Rico.
Unfortunately, I picked a guy named Rasmus Højgaard because he's supposed to be the best player in the field. He didn't show it today, unfortunately.
No.
But I do think that he does just seem like these other guys. I haven't really checked the weather too closely. I think they're expecting some rain down there in Rio Grande. They are Rio Grande there. I don't know I'm a true gringo here on the show here. But what I do know is that guys are going to go low on that course. You're going to have the tough, fiery aspect that Bay Hill's going to be over in Puerto Rico. You're going to have low scores. He goes out and shoots another 6-7 under par. I really like that Ricky Castillo. There is a name that I really have on there. Another name that I'm really looking at as well is David Ford. See if he can bounce back. I know he had 6 straight birdies on the back nine there to lead that off, and then had a couple other bogeys coming in. So those are the names I'm really looking at. If we're looking on the other side, I'm on Cameron Young this week. I think he's a great course fit, long striker of the driver there. He can use that as a weapon. Obviously, long irons this week, 175 plus, and you got to have the short game there as well. Also, I'm on 200 par for Scotty, as just Adam said. He's not in the doghouse right now. He's actually, yes, he is 7 back. But one thing that Daniel Berger can't do is get up and down around the green. So I don't see that. Whoa! As we got some
storm.
we got some hurricanes down here.
Oh my gosh!
Might as well get ready for.
Might as well add that to tonight's festivities.
But when you're doing that, obviously, I think that wind will pick up at Bay Hill as well. I think those scores are there, and the cream will rise. Obviously, Rory McIlroy even par, but I wouldn't be surprised. Scotty Scheffler right there down the stretch, loves the track. If there's no other course horse there, those would be my picks. But I like Cameron Young this week. Adam, if you had to take one name on the API leaderboard there, are you going to take Daniel Berger to kind of bounce back here, or are you looking further down the list there?
I would love to see DB Straight Vibin', also one of the best Instagram handles of all time. I love just calling him Straight Vibe. I love it. I would love to see Berger get this done.
What's his handle?
STRAITVIBIN. You got to put an underscore in there. That's the name of the boat. Daniel Berger, Straight Vibin'. Gotta love it. FSU swag.
When it comes to,
That's right.
When it comes to golfers who love boats, it's like DJ, Cam Smith, and Daniel Berger just fighting over who loves their boat the most and who would rather be on a boat than on a golf course.
Cam Smith,
I love Daniel Berger. Yeah, I've loved
about
Daniel
Boo
Berger
Weekley?
for a very,
Boo
very
Weekley
long
have a
time.
boat?
Boo.
Does
I
Boo
miss-
have a boat?
He could,
no,
yeah.
But I miss him.
Who's got a
He's
rowboat?
probably
I
fishing.
bet
for
he'd
the
be a
bank.
lot of fun on a boat, though. I
always
bet he'd
love
be a
the-
lot of fun on a boat, though.
We're talking some throwbacks. I always love those hats, like the camo hats. Those were always great. We need to
Yeah.
bring that on set too, Mike. Come on.
That's on the Champions Tour. He's
Yeah.
still a clown.
He's fun.
What do you
Daniel
expect
got
from the
the
Champions
vibes.
Tour?
So you got Straight Vibe in there. Any other names? Obviously, local story there. Any other names that if you had to put some cash down tonight, Adam, who are you going to put it on?
Definitely going to put it on Daniel Berger, hoping that we can see
there
this
we go.
through. I would love to see him have a great
Okay.
year and potentially make it to the President's Cup team this year. Would love to see him get back in the mix and kind of get his career back on track. I love watching him play, and he's that kind of cocky guy that can be a lot of fun, and it would be great to see him get back in the mix. But also, you always got to sprinkle a couple shekels on Scotty if he's in the mix, and 7 back with 3 rounds to play is absolutely nothing for him. So smart money is always sticking with him at this point. I love watching him play. I've obviously waxed poetic about him for a long time here, but wow, it got dark there fast. Wow, I see the wind blowing and everything.
There's
You guys
a
okay?
lot going on tonight. A lot going on.
You guys all right there?
Yeah, we have a storm like literally blowing in.
Adam.
And we're right by the water in the bridge. So
Hey, Adam,
maybe not the safest
You have
idea.
single-handedly rescued this show, and we appreciate it. John Rager, you got anything else you can
Wow.
we can talk about with Adam, who's nice and warm up there in North Carolina? Why we
blow away here
the
at
door
Treasure Island.
as the door said back in the day, riding the storm out. No, that was REO Speedwagon.
Well, Ab,
There you
tell
go.
us about, tell us about what's coming up with friedegg.com, because I know I'm looking at your website. I see like golf tournaments coming up and all kinds of exciting things.
Yep.
In fact, Brendan Porath, who writes for you, I was watching him on the Golf Channel this week. Did a wonderful job on, I think it was like Golf Today or something like that, one of those shows out there. But what's happening in your world and friedegg.com coming up?
Man, what isn't happening in our world of the Friday Golf? We got a lot of stuff coming through. We got our Players Championship Hub will go live tomorrow. So we'll have all of our content from the past. We'll have 3 or 4 guys down at the tournament covering that this year for us. So have a lot more content on TBC Sawgrass coming through. Masters prep is in full force. We've got some great interviews coming up. Not quite to the level of Rory McIlroy that we've got coming tonight. Another shameless plug for that here in about an hour or so. But a lot of really good stuff coming through there. We've got a project that we're doing that kind of breaks down, Augusta National in a different way. Everyone's written about a lot of ways about the course. We're kind of taking a different angle to that and having a little fun with it. But a lot of really great stuff for major season coming through. We've got some great trips coming through. If you guys are looking for a fun golf event, we've got a few events down in the Florida area that we're running. We just hosted one down at Streamsong last week. That went great. But a lot of fun stuff planned for the year. We got a lot of some stuff I wish I could say it's currently in the mix, but hopefully in a couple months we'll be able to update you guys on some of this stuff. But a lot of really great stuff coming through. If you're a fan of this program, we'll have something for you over at thefriedegg.com or on any of our social accounts, which are all at Friedegg Golf.
Next time you have a company meeting, you need to lobby hard to get you down here to the Valspar, and they see how much fun we are. I mean, we weather storms down here to have you on.
Are we fair weathered? I wouldn't say we are.
No, we aren't. And in fact, I want to thank you so much for all you've done for us the last year and a half. In the event that this is the last broadcast you ever,
Big question.
you ever hear our
Possibly.
voices.
Possibly.
I'm sure John Rager will take on the tee and roll with it, but the 3 of us probably won't be here if this continues.
Adam, I don't know if you can tease us, but any talk of Bridgerton from Rory McIlroy obviously led to his Grand Slam there, Ashley. If we know anything about golf and the way to motivate a golfer to win the Grand Slam gold jacket and hit probably the golfer shot of the year, obviously, on the 15th there. Any talk of Bridgerton and maybe just his diet, how that week went to capture that illustrious green jacket?
No talk of Bridgerton, unfortunately. I don't know how we missed that. That's just terrible on our part.
Wow.
A bunch of amateurs over here. I don't know how we didn't figure that out. But no, we didn't really go too deep into the Masters. Actually, it was more of a wide-ranging kind of conversation there with Rory. And I think a lot of the stuff that we talk about is probably going to be better than just reliving and re-going through a lot of the stuff that he's probably already kind of talked about and said. Plus, there's that documentary that's coming out with Amazon too. I don't know if you guys have saw that, but there's a documentary coming out about his Masters win that Amazon's doing. So that'll get covered doing Oblivion there. But him getting really introspective about his career and what he wants to do after golf, I thought was great. And then a lot of really great stuff about his daughter too. And that's just going to tug at it. And people with heartstrings that have kids. I don't have any, but with my niece and everything and seeing her kind of figure out sports and how life works, that got me on it.
I think you're fostered into the Iowa family of Mike there. Obviously, Adam, obviously big news on the Rory McIlroy, obviously second at Riv behind Jacob Bridgman there, but winning the Seminole member guest
with his dad.
with his daddy there.
Yeah. That's another cathedral of golf that he's crossed off the list. He's won at Seminole. He's won at Pebble. He's won at Sawgrass. He's won at Augusta. Add Seminole to the list with his dad. But I know he loves playing in that. He has a lot of fun. Him and his dad have a really great relationship. And if you've ever seen him talk about his father, he actually talks about his dad a lot in the interview we do with him here. That's going live in about an hour now. So it was really cool to kind of see him do that. And after he talked about his dad and how much his dad means to him. And the one little tidbit I'll give you as a tease is they asked him, what's one thing he's learned? He goes, he's way more like his dad than he ever thought he was. And he kind of waxes poetic about, how that's a good thing. Whereas, some of us might say, oh, we're getting to be like our fathers. We might view that as a bad thing, but, with, dad jokes and stuff like that. But, hearing Rory talk about, what his dad means to him, Jerry, and, it was great. And seeing them win at Seminole, obviously really cool for them.
Cool.
Not the biggest event, but, still very cool for them and, happy for Rory and his dad.
Well, a good friend of mine, Gene Elliott, who's been on the show quite often, he lives in the neighborhood right across the street, actually, from Jerry and his wife. And he said the guy's the salt of the earth. And and he's actually a member of Seminole, but he had surgery or he would have been playing in that same tournament. Gene Elliott, an accomplished amateur. Hey, I'm gonna be firing myself after this performance in the first hour in the future. But in the meantime, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Something that I won't stumble, and bumble on is your love for college basketball. March Madness around the corner.
I know. It's crazy. It's already here.
Yeah, when you were with USA Today, I know you watched it with bated breath and covered it. Your thoughts on? I mean, I think it's wide open in 2026. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a tournament. Might be one of the closest that we've seen in years.
Yeah, John, flashing the Gators Cup there. They're looking pretty good. They're starting around. They've kind of flown under the radar for a lot of this year, but
get rid of that.
I think
Gators.
I think they've got a chance to do something. But yeah, like you said, it's wide open. I could probably rattle off 10 to 12 teams that have a legitimate chance to do something this year. But it's going to be a great tournament. College basketball. It's been an awesome year for college basketball for anyone that's been paying attention. There are so many good teams and so many deep rosters. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Teams doing it different ways too. You get some guy, some teams going small and shooting. You get teams like Michigan that are just long and lanky and are just going to press the absolute hell out of you and play every single passing lane. Teams like Florida who are just, man, they're just good. They just get the ball in the hoop,
and
man.
I don't know how
it can be. They are, yeah, and this is the time when you want to get hot, right? This is the time when you really want to start rounding into form, and Golden's got those guys cooking. Just watching him give it to Calipari this week was so fun. Seeing like the young guy go against the old guard was a lot of fun. But Cal's got his guys kind of cooking a little bit down there too. And if there's anybody that can win a couple one-off games and get a team to rally, it's going to be Cal. But a lot of really good teams. I'm hoping my Buckeyes can make a run and do something there.
Sure.
My George Mason Patriots just tanked these last couple weeks of the season. Real tough scene there. But yeah, very, very happy that it's March. This is the best time of year we get. The best golf tournaments coming up. The weather's turning. It's all good.
Just to irritate Bill, I think we need to give a little shout out for Duke too. You are in North Carolina. I think.
Man, they're good. They are very good.
Betting favorite right
now. They should be
up there as well.
After the way they've played these last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
they probably should be, right? I mean, that's a very good team.
Always.
Yeah, just looking at the board there right now, Duke and Michigan lead the way, plus 275, put $100 down, win 275. Arizona Wildcats, plus 375.
They're solid. They're very solid.
Why don't we next week? Why don't we actually kind of pull together and put our bets down on March Madness? What do you think, champ? Here on the show, let's do it.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't celebrate my birthday any better, Ashley, than doing that next week. I look forward to that.
Hear that little plug?
I knew
champ 27, 28, champ.
Yeah, exactly.
A front 940, unfortunately, but we're gonna finish with a nice 29 on the back. Don't you worry. There you go. That'll boy.
Don't say oh wow.
That'll boy.
That's my age, so I don't know if you want the back nine I've had recently, but I know one team that a lot of people were picking as a sleeper down the road is not going to happen now, and that is my Iowa State Cyclones. The Hawkeyes will be one and done when they get in, but the Cyclones
16-1.
Cyclones?
Yeah.
Well, they've got to start shooting free throws better, and they certainly need to finish, and they have not done that of late.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's 6-1 there. I do think one of those like maybe mid-major, that type of thing. Plenty of wide open tournament there.
Arizona?
Two names I'm looking at. I definitely like Arizona there.
Arizona.
I would be curious. Nobody's talking about them there for probably the first time in a long, long time. The Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Oh.
Gonzaga Bulldogs, obviously.
You say Gonzaga or Gonzaga? I've always said Gonzaga. Come on. Caribbean.
How many
What are you
times?
feeling?
Actually, I'm a numbers person, not at there.
Let's ask the editor. Is it Gonzaga or Gonzaga?
Oh, don't put me on the spot like this because I don't know
Come on,
either.
man.
I just,
Gonzaga.
they're the Zags, so I
carrying
always
the
say
show so
Gonzaga.
far. I needed to
The
continue.
editor knows
I
how to
say-
spell it.
Speaking
That's all
of,
that matters.
I didn't realize it was like 7:05. I gotta head out here soon. I am way late for something. But this has been a lot of fun. But I will say, they're called the Zags for short, so I always went to Gonzaga. I don't know if that has anything, but that's the way I always justified it.
Okay.
Who's to say? But I do need to run though. It was great to see everybody. This was a
8 o'clock, friedegg.com,
conversation.
YouTube
Hold on,
channel,
hold on.
Roy
You-
McElroy.
You're like family. Do you got a date? You can be honest with us.
No, but I am going to see a friend of mine play some live music tonight, and I'm helping out a little bit.
He's
so
probably
I
got
need
a bingo
I
sheet
need
to fill out.
need to
Adam's
book
got
it.
a bingo sheet to fill
All right.
out. If
He's
I know
Adam
bingo.
Order. Enjoy yourself as a backup for. Is
Have
he
yourself a nice iced
solo,
tea and
solo
lemonade.
or a band.
Band.
All right. Enjoy yourself, my man.
Thank you, Adam.
Will do. Have a great night, everybody. See you guys.
Wear your nice cardigan out tonight.
I've got mine on.
Cardigan.
Yeah,
I've
and
got mine
Honor
on.
Palmer, you got to have a cardigan out. You got a
That's
lot
an
of-
old lady cardigan you have on there.
This is, you know
Hey,
what?
Mike, if
this
anything-
this color is very in. I'm right. I'm on point.
Mike,
as
anything,
always.
anything that happens tonight, don't worry. It's just going to blow over. That's the one thing I know since I've been on set here for about 45 minutes is the winds are howling, the takes are hot, and where the heck is Bill Butner is what I want to know
He is
there.
sitting
Ashley.
at Eckerd
I
College.
wish I was with them. I have,
What do you mean?
I have sucked this entire hour.
I'm shocked.
because I'm so freaked out about our production. But that's the problem.
Yeah,
of
see,
being,
Champ
when you're the
missed-
owner.
Yeah, Champ missed that.
You're-
Champ missed
yeah.
the first part of the show. You need to fill
you're-
him in. He doesn't
You're
even
more
know.
stressed on instead of the delivery. I got to get over that. I've got Adam over there, and he'll get things under
I
control.
think we
which
need
he
to get
did.
him a couple brews here, Ashley, to calm the nerves. Maybe a shot or two. I
I
don't know.
can't
We
drink
gotta
it.
get this guy
I'm
going.
about ready to
We
to
have-
take this
we
bottle
have
of
the
bu-
THC
ice
beverage.
pick.
Oh, we got the CBD.
Yeah. Oh, CBD beverage.
Needs to hit the
sorry.
pipe there, Mike.
No, I'm about ready to take that ice pick vodka and just start chugging it. I tell you right now.
You won't. You won't, Mike.
Oh my God!
I told
I
him it was.
fumble,
I told
stumble,
him
and
it was
bumble.
Mercury retrograde.
I
and
can't
it's a
even
real
read
thing.
my own script because I was so intense.
That's all right,
Where's
Mike. That was a great conversation.
John Rager,
there.
I should have turned it completely over to you because you're just sitting up there, nice
Calm,
and can't calm.
Reading
Hey,
books.
listen, I'll tell you
Drinking
what.
out of that Gator cup.
Yeah.
This has been one of the best shows I've enjoyed. I've got my master's beverage. I'm watching.
Get closer
Golf
to the
Channel.
microphone. Get
And
closer
you know
to the
what? I am
microphone,
in
brother.
eager anticipation of the Valspar Championship coming up.
Hey, John.
But
Oh, there we go.
There he
you got
is.
your
There I
man,
am.
Iowa Hawkeye.
you ready to introduce him there, John?
Here we go. So we're going to introduce our next guest here. Ready? We're, on the T Florida, we do first tee introductions for all of our guests. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, on the T Florida, the 7:07 p.m. pairing. When you engage AI and need an image of one of the pioneers in NFL statistics, up comes this man's photo. 30 years experience of masterfully handling the most challenging radio broadcasters and PJ Tour players of all time. Let's welcome the media director for the PJ Tour's Valspar Championship, Rick Odioso.
We got a big gallery, like a Valspar gallery. That's great.
Oh yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, we're talking that was sound effects for 10,000 people. Yeah, just like the first tee at the Valspar on
That's it,
Thursday
right.
morning.
Well,
Good
we're
to
down
see
here.
you guys.
Great to be seen, and we certainly appreciate you taking time out to join us. I know it's a busy time of the year. We had a great conversation with Tracy last week. She's superb. She could carry it. Well, she did carry this show by herself. And you, as the media guy, have carried him for numerous years. Bill Butner, who I know you know very well, he bailed
Right.
on us because he's the scorekeeper, and it's the conference the conference championships for Eckerd College. So that's where he's tonight. But I know you guys have some history as well with
Right.
with Bill Butner.
Hey, Rick, before we start talking about the Valspar Championship, I just want to lead off our listeners and viewers out there to get a little background on you, because you're a very interesting individual. You're not just golf, you're not just football, but you have something very unique in your life as far as how you got into this business and what you did with the NFL, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and how you became the media director for this golf tournament. Just give us a minute or two about yourself.
Well, I worked for the Buccaneers for 19 NFL seasons. I was the PR director for the last, for 17 of them. And then in the late 90s, it came time to recalibrate my life, and I picked up a bunch of side deals, kind of. I mean, none of them by themselves are a career, but I work for the Valspar Championship seasonally. I do statistics for TV broadcasts for Fox Sports, for the Lightning, for the Rays, and various other things. Did a Phillies game today. So it's an interesting life. I've had some, other odds and ends come in as well, but those are the foundations of what I do. And now it's Valspar Championship season.
Well, I have a show called the Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection, live from Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. If I can remember which location I'm at tonight. And sounds like I'm going to have to ask you to come on one of those shows where we talk everything from the Pee-wees, the preps, to the pros. What would you say, of all those hats you've worn, which has been the most intriguing and interesting, or they all pretty much in their own right have some value for you?
Well, they all have they all have their own right. I mean, being an NFL PR director, and the various people that came through the Bucs are kind of from Doug Williams to Steve Young to Vinny Testaverde to Ray Perkins to Sam Weiss. So I saw quite a few, John McKay. I saw quite a few NFL figures. And then when I started with Fox Sports, I kind of started at the top. I was on the Madden Summerall crew for 5 years.
Oh, my
So-
God.
So
Man. Did you have a turducken?
I've had turducken. I seem to remember the turduckens were made in New Orleans, and one year we had a Thanksgiving game. Well, we worked Thursday in Dallas, and we worked Sunday in New Orleans, where the home of the turducken was. And I remember carrying a turducken through the airport, wondering why. So we had turducken. I was on the bus with them. With Madden, and I have I don't know if it's a distinction. When I was with the Bucs, I actually was asked to give John Madden a ride to the airport. Yes, you heard right, to the airport, and that turned out to be the last flight he ever took from Tampa to Houston. And in Houston, he had enough of it and got off the plane, and I guess he took a train back to Oakland and never flew again. And then
he didn't fly for 20, 30 years after that?
After that, never did. I mean, I remember we were booked for a game in Australia, a preseason game, and he said, "You're going to be doing it without me." And we did.
Well, you probably know a very good friend of ours, Barry Smith, and we have him on the show on Saturdays quite often. All fall we had 50th anniversary interviews with Randy Grimes, Steve DeBerg. I could go on and on. You know all these guys. But I was going to say, from a flight perspective, if anybody ever flew on the Bucs flight, did you ever fly on that plane? These guys tell me all these horror stories about how scary that was back in the day.
The year I joined the Bucs in '78, and I believe in the time I was there, we always flew with a major carrier. But that was not the case in 1976. I'm not sure who they used, but yes, I heard
it was his own plane.
Well, I don't know if he might have leased it or something. It was something called McCulloch Airlines, as I recall, which obviously you could look it up, but. I heard stories about that too, that it wasn't as good as But most of the time I was there, we flew one of the major carriers in a regular charter, and so it wasn't any big thing. But yeah, it was an interesting time, and When I was there, I missed them in '77, winning their first two games at the end of the season. But then 2 years later, we were in the NFC Championship game, and then there's a lot of good times. A great win in Detroit in '81 in the last game to win the division championship, and then a lot of bad years. So it was an interesting tenure with the Bucks.
Well, I remember the worst to the first, but
Mhm.
I had moved from Tampa Bay to go work for the PJ Tour up at Jacksonville, and they didn't have the Jaguars up there yet. And people
Right.
would rag me about the Bucks and how bad they were, and this, that, and the other. And we had an expression: "They may be the Bucks, but there are Bucks."
That's right. That's
And
right. And it's kind of an incredible thing, starting from scratch, going to the championship game in the fourth year. And it wasn't like today; you couldn't really just go out and buy a team. There was no free agency. It was everybody's cast-offs and draft picks.
Well, I have Rick Vaughn on our show quite often to talk baseball and the history of St. Pete, and when are you going to write your book? Because it sounds like
You have a lot of history.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be outstanding. And I guess and you get asked this all the time, but was John Madden the character and a sincere and great human being that he's portrayed as?
Yeah, he was. The thing that I found that was interesting about him is he really liked. I don't want to say. He didn't necessarily hobnob well with executives. I mean, he could do it, but he liked to just sit around. He didn't drink at the time I was there because as a crew they had sworn off liquor to support Pat Summerall.
Yeah.
And so we would sit in the lobby and a lot of times, and he would just chat up regular people. A lot of his friends were people like firemen and people at the hotels he stayed at. I mean, he didn't go around with the highfalutin people.
Well, and he also was kind of the front man for Miller Lite and those great commercials. So
Right.
that's pretty unique that he didn't participate. But I applaud him because Pat Summerall obviously had a tough go of it, and he had his support. That's cool.
Hey, Rick, we're a show that's famous. We are a golf show, and football discussions break out all the time on our golf show.
Right. Sure.
So,
Well, I'm going baseball next.
now we're going baseball. But hey, Rick,
Spring training.
Valspar Championship coming up. What do our listeners and watchers need to know, or viewers need to know about what's coming up with the Valspar Championship? Because now it's getting really close, and there's a lot of commitments to the tournament, I would assume, at this point, and maybe a few celebs in the Pro-Am. Why don't you give us a heads up on what's coming up?
Well, I mean, it's kind of remarkable considering where we sit as the third week after API. I always want to call it by another name, and the Players Championship. So to play in our tournament, most of the world-class players have to play a third straight week, and yet we've got quite a field. Xander Schauffele. I'm really excited that JJ Spawn is playing this year.
U.S. Open champ, right? Yeah.
Right, and Ben Griffin. So those are three guys from the top 20, and Victor Hovland's in the top 20, and that would be the official world golf ranking. Brooks Koepka's making one of his first starts. But I don't know, maybe his fourth start back. We've got Brooks Koepka in the field. Patrick Cantlay hasn't played with us for a long time, but he finished second the last time he did, and he's in the field. Jordan Spieth. If his health is good, it is likely that Justin Thomas will sign up late. He has not as of yet.
Oh no!
But
I think he's back this week, correct? I
Yeah,
know he had,
he's
a
ba-
back
he's-
injury. Yeah.
He's back at Bay Hill, and I just think he wants to make sure everything's
Okay.
up to up. But Justin Thomas has not won the Valspar. He was second last year. I think
Yeah,
he was
that's right.
third a couple years ago, and he has the best stroke average of anybody that's played more than 20 rounds on the Copperhead. He just hasn't converted it into a win. So he really loves the place, and I'm sure he thinks he can win. Hell, he had the lead with a hole to play last year. So we'd love to have him back. It was kind of funny last year. Jacob Bridgman finished third in the Valspar, and I kind of said, who's Jacob Bridgman? But now he's the winner 2 weeks ago at Genesis and top 20 in the world, and he has not canceled his commitment. He's coming back. So, there's quite a lot of good other players too. So it will be one of the better fields you would have for a non-signature, non-major.
Hey, Rick,
So,
you have a unique perspective here because your tournament chairman is Ronde Barber, NFL Hall of Famer, Tampa Bay Buccaneer great. And
Right.
Give us your perspective on how he got involved with this and what's his role with this tournament.
I may have had a little to do with that in the sense that as my memory serves, we were looking for a celebrity to do something, and I knew Ronde a little bit. I'd worked with him on Fox broadcasts, and we got him to come and do something, and Tracy got talking to him, and next thing he's been with the tournament almost a decade now, I think, in various roles. He's sort of I don't want to say permanent. Nothing's permanent in life, but he's the general chairman going forward, and he gives us great visibility. And the thing that's impressive about Ronde is he's in all the meetings. He knows everything that's going on. He makes decisions. I mean, it's not a ceremonial role. He is very much Tracy West, who you've had on. I would say is probably the driving force of the tournament and getting all the details right and charting the course. But Ronde's with her every step of the way, and every once in a while, chiming in and saying, "Hey, maybe we got to do this." So he's very much a part of it, and it's been a great partnership.
So Rick, as the media director of the tournament, I think it's really interesting with your football background. Like, how do you approach a tournament like this, and with the football background, how do you approach
football,
it different?
baseball, hockey?
Well, yeah, I know, but how do you approach things a little differently than maybe most people like PGA Tour, or how they might approach a tournament like this? Like, how do you get things organized for the week?
Well, I would say that I'm kind of, if you're at the tournament on site, the PGA Tour media officials who come in for the week, they're pretty much in charge of the media relations from Monday of tournament week till the end of the tournament. So
right.
I don't pretend to be, putting out all the releases about about the pairings and the results and all that.
Okay.
But at this stage, like, we want them to come in and see things are all set up. So we set up the media room the way that our space and stuff allows. John's been there. I think it's pretty good. It's not a tent. It's in a building. And we do the credentialing, and we put out the local press releases prior to the start of the tournament. And then during the week of the tournament, we're kind of looking for local angles and to service the local media somewhat in terms of the things they need, and pushing things that maybe, like for one thing, talking again about football and our golf tournament, another great supporter of the tournament is John Gruden. And
you have the turn with John Gruden, right?
Isn't the turn with John Gruden. So so that's going to be a great thing. Give me a second just to outline what it is. It's between the 9th and the 10th hole, 9th green and 10th tee. There's an area, and if you follow John Gruden on social media, you know that every couple of days he gets a big box from somebody.
Right.
And we got to wondering, what does he do with all that stuff? And we found out he was wondering, what the heck am I going to do with all this stuff myself? I mean, I've got I think we heard it was like 25 bags of 25 big bags of stuff. Wow. Obviously he might, I'm not going to say that when Eastern Michigan University sends him a box, everything gets put aside, but he can't take all the stuff that's in the box.
Sure.
So anyway, he's donated it to the tournament, and if you go to the Turn and make a $10 donation, you will get an item that was sent to John Gruden. You won't be able to pick it out. You won't be able to pick it out. It's kind of going to be like Forrest Gump. Every box,
box of chocolates.
Box of chocolates. And
you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, you can only imagine what's in those boxes when the athletic departments send you stuff that they use.
But for the most part, I mean, in our world, I mean, we're offering T-shirts, polo shirts, hats, maybe like small jackets. But You might get something from Montana State. You might get something from Weber State. I mean, who knows? So, but for only $10, and you can help donate to
Very cool.
help me, it's animals.
So hey,
Humane Society.
We're going to be down there on Thursday, and I know there's like a few other experiences, like the Dex Deck. What happens at the Dex Deck or the I think that's in the Lexus Lounge.
Those are upset. We have two kinds of things. I mean,
Okay.
we have. I mean, first of all, you can just go to the tournament for a very reasonable ticket price and walk around, and we have a lot of stuff that you can go to with just a regular grounds ticket.
Okay.
Now, the things like the Dex Deck and the Hooters Owl's Nest and they're upscale tickets. But
Okay,
even
gotcha.
if you just have a grounds ticket, there are places around the course like the Publix Chill Lounge and Frenchie's by the pool and a couple other new ones this year, a Tequila Deck, that you can go to and enjoy. It's almost like a premium location. There's places to sit and you have to purchase your libation or whatever, but you can sit there and enjoy it. So I'm really always impressed by how if you go there, you can on the regular grounds ticket admission, you can act like you have a big,
You're big time.
big
Yeah,
hospitality location.
Big time, Mike. Like you're big time.
Right.
We set up over there by Frenchie's a couple years ago, and you were kind enough to come over, and that's a great location too.
Frenchie's is great, and if you've never had the she crab soup, you got to be sure to get it. But even if you don't, that pool's great. And it's a great spot to get out of the sun for a few holes. The players walk by just in sight as they go between the scoring between the 18th green and the first tee, or as they're going from the 18th green to the scoring trailer. So it's right close to where you can see them. We have a very nice, I think, driving range area with bleachers that people can get up close and watch people before their rounds.
And concerts.
And then we have a concert Saturday night. I mean, that's our biggest day is Saturday because we have a concert, and it's got two very well-known, Lee Brice and Tyler Hubbard, two very well-known country western performers, and they're both going to do full shows out there on the driving range. So, and that is, if you have a Saturday ticket, if you're in the tournament on Saturday, there's no further ticket that you need to get to go see that concert.
Rick, from a fellow statistician, what's your most colorful stat of the week when you go all through it, either to try to pick a winner of the tournament at the Valspar or the number of sheets you have to print out? What is the most colorful stat that you can come up with as the media director for the Valspar Championship?
Well, I sort of did it there when I said that Justin Thomas has the lowest round, the best scoring average. That was my big off-year project. It wasn't.
There you go.
I kept waiting for somebody to do it, and nobody did it. So I had to go. I went through all the scores and figured it all out. And
love it.
I think Justin Thomas is a great story. Taylor Moore was second last week. So he and Adam Hadwin are two champions that have not won a second tournament. Everybody else has won multiple tournaments.
My question to you, Rick, is Adam Hadwin going to break another sprinkler on the Valspar property like he did last year?
Oh, that's funny.
He was that last year or the year? Anyway, yes, he's had some moments for a guy who is one of the most mild-mannered, guys. He's been tackled on a green by a security guard.
That sounds like football. I think it's your doing, Rick. You're introducing the NFL to Valspar Championship.
I know.
He was tackled on the green.
Yeah,
he was tackled on a green at the Canadian
Open with Tommy Fleetwood right there in his grill there, getting tackled by his own fellow Canadian as he won with over a 80-foot putt there.
Oh, I remember that.
Right,
yeah.
Nick Taylor.
Nick
Taylor and he grew up on a golf course together in Abbotsford, British Columbia, and so they're great friends, and so all the Canadian golfers, have a bond, and they were all there. The first Canadian to win the Canadian Open in a gazillion years, and so he rushed out on the green with a bottle of champagne, and the security guard didn't get the message that he was the player celebrating.
That's right. Rick, the only thing
It was a hell of a tackle.
I mean, I mean, there's so many things that can happen. I mean, what was one of your biggest like PR nightmares?
Well, I'll tell. I mean, even one from last year, Rick, and you might need to lock the door because I was able to get inside the players' lounge last year, which is actually right beside the media center.
Guess what? You just blew your media pass.
No, I didn't blow that. I'm an honest man here on the tee.
Rick
Florida,
is not happy. Rick is not happy with
it. Wasn't Rick's problem. It was a security guard that I just I would out-muscled him, and I snuck around him just like I did. Nick Taylor did to give a nice form tackle 2-1 there. But yeah, having it right beside there, walking in on Michael Kim and a couple other players just having, and I did the right thing. I said, ma'am, this is not the right area. I'm going to go next door. Great there. Got all the TVs. Had a little March Madness going on there as well. Gotta love it there. But that's my favorite story. What's your one of the best stories that you have, Rick, from your time with the Valspar Championship?
I don't know. I just remember, well, I don't know if this is, in 2018 on Friday, Tiger Woods committed to the tournament. And we redid the media center because we said, we're going to have so much more media. So we took half of the ballroom that we have our media room in, and we made a bigger area with like 100 seats for a Tiger press conference. And on Tuesday, we were told, well, he's going to do all his stuff up by the course, up in the flash area, up by 18 green. So the Tiger Woods Media Center was never used. But anyway, media interview room. But that
I would love
good.
to walk into that and be like, thank you. Man, this is so nice, Ashley. Look at all this room we got now. Look at this.
No,
Funny enough, we couldn't get in anywhere last year. We were there, but.
Well, Ashley, I mean, what's one story from like a Hollywood actor that you got like, oh, he's going to be on set, and then he's like, nah, not going to be able to do it.
John Rager, you got a question for Rick? You've known him for years.
No? John's gone. John? Is John there?
Man, that much of a friend, Rick. That's tough on John there. My goodness.
I'm not seeing him. I think he's gone off camera.
Hey, Rick,
So,
He's probably refilling his Gator cup with ice pick vodka. Actually,
we obviously we're talking golf in the Valspar, but with all your history in sports, and we're talking about PR nightmares. What was one of your craziest ones, like on the football end, like when you were with the Bucks?
Boy.
I know, now making you
when the
dig
liquor
deep.
was there with John Madden, was probably had to be one of them, right, Rick?
Well, that could be a possibility, actually. I mean, that's true.
I want to hear his John Madden, if he has an impersonation of the coach.
I don't impersonate John McKay. I remember all the lines, capice is kaput, and what do you think of your team? What do you think of your team's execution? And he said, I'm in favor of it. And so.
Love it from him.
That's funny. So you were there with John Gruden. I mean, you guys were there around the same time, or correct?
I was there with Jim Gruden, his father, who's an excellent golfer.
Yeah.
So I'm so old. I knew John Gruden when he was, just a ball boy type kid hanging out on the.
Sure.
I saw his older brother Jay Gruden play high school football for Chamberlain High School. So I mean, they've been here in the community ever since about 1978, I think. I mean,
wow! I didn't realize that.
The Gruden kids grew up here, and their mom was a teacher at somewhere, Berkeley Prep, maybe. So she, he's got great ties to the Tampa Bay area.
Hey, John, we got you back.
Yeah, how we doing?
We're doing well. Thank you so much. Glad to have you back.
Well, I'm really enjoying listening to some of the stories from the old Bucks because.
Wait a minute. I'm seeing a little an image video. Are you standing, John?
I'm standing up right
What's
now.
going on exactly?
I'm
because
my
I think
legs, actually. I'm just
part
trying to stretch
of
my
your
legs
head is actually cut off. So I'm just curious.
Well, I'm just
it looked like
stretching
you
my
were
legs
like in
here.
a football stance.
Well,
of
here
some
we
sort.
go. I'm back.
Okay, good.
We want to make sure it was you. We didn't know
Yeah,
if
I know.
AI. We didn't see the face, so it was AI recognition of.
Well, Rick,
there.
I really enjoy the stories of the old Bucks. As you know, my dad played 12 years in the NFL, was an all-pro linebacker with the Steelers, and I can remember the first time that the Bucks practiced in their inaugural year when they had their first practice. My dad was like 45 years old. He owned a restaurant in downtown Tampa, and he went down there to watch the first practice. You know, they let some of the alumni from the Tampa Bay area in there, and I remember the discussion that he and my mom got into because my dad thought he could suit up and play right then. He was like, "I'll sign a contract right now. You know, I could go play for them." And you know, it was really something interesting where I had the good fortune of attending the 1976 Buccaneer reunion dinner every year. You know, Barry
Okay.
Smith used to put it on. You know,
Right.
Mary Ann Stiles, his wife, used to own a restaurant called 42nd Street, and so I would get to go down there every year with that team, with those Buccaneers. And one of the most interesting people I met was a guy named Larry Ball, and Larry played for the Dolphins when they were undefeated. You know, when they had the undefeated year in '72, and he also played for the Bucks when they went, I think, 0-14 their first
Oh,
year.
and 14.
That's right. So he's the only person that ever played for both teams that
For
went
both,
undefeated and lost them all.
Because you would have had to play for that Dolphin team. I mean, maybe you count the
Yeah.
you'd have to be maybe there was. I don't think there was a Lion Patriot. So yes, that is an incredible thing. I remember Dave.
Rick, I remember the days when I used to work at the Hall of Shame. They call it the Hall of Fame Inn across from the old One
Right.
Buccaneer place. And
You were the pro there?
Yeah, I was a young assistant pro there at the Hall of Shame.
Right.
Yep. For
I remember that.
working for Dick Corbett, who now it's the International Mall, and you know he decided that that's what he wanted it to be, but it took him like 20 years to finally get the International Mall built.
I'm not going to say we laughed at him, but a lot of people laughed at him when he said, "I just bought this not very good hotel, but the land is great, and that golf course is going to be a big mall," and that's what it ended up being.
Yeah, we had 11 different general managers in the 2 years that I worked there, and you know, once a month we had to go I was the assistant pro, so I was the manager on duty once a month, and my job was to make the change for all the profit centers, the lounge, the golf shop, whatever, and chase the hookers out of the hotel at 2 a.m. every Friday and Saturday night. I had to do that once a month. That was quite an education as a young assistant pro.
If you were to say what hotel hosted the first NFL scouting combine, and you said the Hall of Fame Inn, you would be correct. Because
Well, I'm gonna put that in my arsenal for the next trivia contest down at the Ramada Inn down there on West Shore Boulevard next Saturday night.
Because I remember we had all from whatever class that was, but I remember once I had to deliver. Remember, this was before cell phones, so people would call the Buccaneer office and they'd say, "We want to get a hold of this guy. He's one of the players there at the scouting combine." And I had to go. I went over and took a message to the great Hall of Famer Darrell Green. So whatever year Darrell Green was a rookie, he stayed at the Hall of Fame Inn for the first scouting combine.
And that's something. Yeah, that was quite a place. But now it's the International Mall.
Darrell Green ran a 4.3 when it was unheard of in the in the combine. Unbelievable, tremendous athlete for the Washington Redskins. Where did he go to college? Do you remember, Rick?
It's in Texas. I'm thinking it's a geographical Texas.
I mean, we're getting so much Washington Commanders love on this show. First, we get Jay Gruden, former head coach, and now we get
Right.
Darrell Green on there as well.
I don't know if it was North Texas State, maybe.
I cheated and looked it up, and I was pretty right on. He went to the school that's now known as Texas A&M Kingsville. I feel like it was known as something else back then.
I can't believe you had to use AI with your broad.
AI is not the internet, Mike. Those are not the same thing.
Thank you for pointing that out, champ.
I said he went to a Texas, and it was actually known then as Texas A&I.
Rick, I don't know what your small is. My guess for you and being a statistician, you probably got to look at population, density, and class size in order to rank that in small school, right?
Right. But today they have some 6,357 students. But yes, it was Texas A&I.
There you go.
Hey, can we?
If that's not Darrell Green Field, I don't know what we're doing.
Hey, real quickly, I just want to say with the Valspar, number one, we're super excited to be out there. But
how do you find tickets there, Ashley? That's what I want to know. If people have all this talk about it, how do we get there?
I just want to say, but hey, it's St. Patrick's Day at a golf tournament. I mean, could there be anything better than that? Just the energy alone that brings to like, for the fans, for the players. I mean,
share your teas.
You must see an impact.
I just wish it wasn't Tuesday because I love the green and all that. But yes, it's St. Patrick's week and going to be a lot of NCAA basketball stuff going on too. Some of
Yeah.
it here
We'll
in
be
our
in
community.
Tampa. Yep, 20th and 22nd at Benchmark International Arena. First round
Do you
there
feel
as well.
like as a golf tournament? I mean, I know Valspar is huge, and Valspar has been around for a long time. But do you feel like you have to kind of compete, like hosting a golf tournament with other sports like basketball? I mean, obviously being March Madness and everything else going on in the world, is it tougher to get I don't know, that
I mean,
attention
people have
or
to
not
pick.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I think we're so unique. I mean, we start obviously with the people like you guys, especially like John, the lifetime golf fan. So you put a PGA Tour event on, you're going to come out, and you don't necessarily even need big names because you can look
Sure.
at any field and you can see people you're interested in. And so we had that, and we were there for a long time. And then I think, especially since Tracy came in 2014, with
Okay.
the concerts and with more stuff that we do on the it's unique. It's not like you go out to a golf tournament, you're not assigned a seat to sit in and watch. You can make whatever you want out of it. You can follow, John can be following Brooks Koepka every step, 18 holes. Other people can sit in one location and watch all the action. Some people may never even see a golfer. They go into a hospitality venue and socialize. A lot of people tell me they can't believe how nice it is just to walk out. It's beautiful there at Innisbrook, and just get a good walk in and see a lot of other people and people watch. So I've never known anybody who went to the tournament and even if they didn't have any interest in golf per se, came away and they didn't have fun. Just being outside and doing, getting some steps in with other people.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think the biggest part is just getting them out there. If you can
Yeah.
get them on the grounds, I think they're sold. Obviously,
Sure.
a lot going on. Obviously, the concert and that sort of thing, making it work. But anytime I've been able to get a non-visit, anybody that hasn't been to a tournament that I've gotten there, be like, man, this is great. Where have I been?
Hey-
I think you're going to be there,
Hey,
and that's the key there.
I've got one more football question because we always talk about Rondé, but I want to know what's going on with Tiki these days.
Tiki
You
does
keep up
radio
with
in
him?
he does radio in New York.
Okay.
He's come into the tournament and other broadcast work.
Yeah.
He's come. He's kid. God, it's scary to think that all the Barber kids I think are out of the house now. Except, well, actually, Tiki I think kind of has a second family that he started. But
Okay.
there's a whole bunch of them that when I first started doing it, they were like 10 and 12, and now they're
Yeah.
you know Rondé's got a kid studying in England, and his two daughters have done great.
Very cool. So were
Here
you?
we are asking you all these
Yeah,
questions.
I know. It's interesting.
Here we are asking you all these questions, but we don't ask what was your favorite Valspar to date since you've been there.
Well, obviously the Tiger one was amazing, 2018. I can't comprehend that the entire first hole, it's a par five. When he hit his first shot every day, the entire first hole had a huge gallery tee to green, and you don't see that hardly anywhere, even at majors. And so we had tremendous crowds, and that will remain our biggest. And Tiger almost won it. I can remember standing there at the 18th, and he had Patrick Reed didn't get up and down, and then Tiger it was a very tough, like 30, 40-foot putt that he could have tied Paul Casey. Casey had finished early, and he had a low round, and he had pulled ahead, and he may not have had a single shot that was on TV. I mean, he was done and in the clubhouse, and nobody could quite catch him. And Tiger came up. I believe Tiger birdied 17 to get to within one, and then 18 he couldn't do the second birdie, and that would have been unbelievable. That was like near craziness. So
He was near hole in one on Thursday, didn't he, too, Rick?
Yes, he played a great tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a turning point in his recovery because he was, a shot away from winning a PGA Tour event with a very good field, and he went on, again after that to have that. He won another Masters and a Tour Championship that I can remember, and maybe some other stuff. So that was clearly the most electric. But we've had other good ones. We had a great playoff with Jordan Spieth in 2015 when he was very young, and he was in the tournament in the playoff with Patrick Reed. That was
I think that was
great.
the same year he won the Masters, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jordan. Yep.
We had a great
Kevin
playoff.
Streelman back there.
We had a great playoff with Jim Furyk and Luke Donald and two other golfers. Four-way
Sam
playoff.
Burns recently.
Sam Burns was won a playoff against
Yep.
Davis
Mhm.
Riley.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
We almost you kind of have to go through each tournament, but almost every tournament we've had, especially recently, has involved a bogey at 18, where somebody needed a par and didn't get it. I mean, like I believe last year Justin Thomas didn't get a par at 18, and that ended up a stroke back.
Maybe he'll be back this year.
Hey, John, how many years have you been asking for media credentials from this gentleman? And I know Bill Butner has a lot of years logged knowing Rick as well.
I think he's on a no entrance list, Bill.
Well, you know what?
Possibly.
I can tell you that as tournaments go, I've traveled around the country and I've attended as a media working member of the press a lot of tournaments all over. But what you do, Rick, is you keep it really simple and elegant. You prepare everything for everybody. The media feels very comfortable. You know, it's not you're not feeling like you're being overrun by, just too much formality. Like when you go to the Tournament Players Championship, or you go to the Masters, it's tight. It's tight. But here, you know what? It feels like home. And, a lot of the media folks get together and they're able to, see each other sometimes where they haven't seen each other for a while. But you make it very comfortable, very welcoming. And so we appreciate the hospitality you provide to the media out there.
Well, we appreciate it. I mean, it starts from the fact, I started doing it with the J.C. Penney Classic in the late 90s. And
oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, we weren't turning away media. We wanted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe, if you're the Masters and you've got all these people that want to get in, they probably get used to saying no. And, I can understand that. But we don't have to do too much of that.
Well, Rick, I appreciate you taking time to join us and processing our credentials, even though you've now seen us all. We appreciate everything you've done. I'm going to get you on my Saturday show and share stories about the other sports down the road. And you're just a plethora of great history and information.
We can connect
and thank you for all you do, my man.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Between the Valspar and then the other three sporting teams, I mean, Tampa Bay is a great sporting scene, and with the race, we've had world championships from two of the teams. We've had great tournaments at the Valspar, and the race may get there someday soon. So, anyway, it's been a fun ride.
You're an optimist.
It's been 50 this year. We should mention this is our 50th year of Copperhead Charities Golf on our 25th PGA Tour event. So we're going to have some of our past champions back on the Copperhead on Sunday to help crown the new champion. So people like Tom Kite and Nancy Lopez.
Really?
So it should be it's going to be a good tournament.
It's going to be great. All right, my man. Appreciate it. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. And
That's right.
as I said, I thank you very much for your joining us tonight.
We'll see you on Thursday.
See you.
on Thursday.
Thank you. See you.
Now, since it's Arnold Palmer Invitational, I thought it'd be very appropriate to bring in Mark Egley. He's with us now from God's country, Des Moines, Iowa. But more importantly, give him his props there, John. He was a great friend of Arnold Palmer's.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the T Florida, the 7:47 p.m. pairing. In the world of golf of the king, this man can certainly be called the prince in the great state of Iowa. Someone who can open his golf facility in the dead of winter like no other. Let's welcome National PGA of America winner of the Deacon Palmer Award, Iowa's Mark Egley.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Mark in the house.
Well, how about
See you all again.
How about evening? It's a little.
It is evening
It's a
here.
little dark down here. You still got sunlight there in Des Moines?
No, I just shut the lights off at the driving range for a March. It was a really busy day, and
My question to you, Mike, is: do you know any friends that are longer names than 4? We got Adam, we got Rick, and now we got Mark. That's to you,
Are you
See you,
there,
Mike?
Are you there, Mark?
I think there might be a bad connection, potentially.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my man, your Wi-Fi isn't strong enough for a conversation. I'll give you a call after the show, but the Wi-Fi to top off the rest of this production is not working. But
We're having one of those days.
It's
Mark.
great to see you.
It's great to see you too.
All right, my man. Well, I'll give you a shout after the show, Mark Egley. We are running out of time, but John, we talked to him, many times, and just a wonderful human being. And
well, you had mentioned he actually has a connection to Arnold Palmer, and
what?
so there's a lot of history
Plenty of stories
there
there.
between them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Well, John, he won the Deacon Palmer Award.
Yeah, the Deacon Palmer Award is named after Arnold Palmer's father, who obviously mentored Arnold Palmer to be the golfer that he is. And Deacon was a golf course superintendent at Latrobe, and that's where Arnold Palmer learned how to play golf. And as growing up as a greenskeeper's kid, Arnold Palmer really wasn't able to use the facilities like the other member kids would use. And so one of the things about Deacon was that he had a disability. He had an injury that prevented him from actually being able to pass the playability test in the PGA of America and become a PGA golf professional. And he was also a greenskeeper. So what happened is years and years later, the PGA of America decided, we need to rectify this, and we need to have an award, and named after Deacon Palmer. Of course, Deacon won the first one, and Mr. Palmer was still alive at that time, and awarded the Deacon Palmer Award for a number of years to all the PGA of America National Award winners. And so Mark Egley's got a tremendous story. When we get him on, he can kind of detail this a little bit more. But Mark has overcome great physical challenges and illness to be a PGA golf professional and to do what he does. But he's also one of the best teachers and mentors of young golfers in the state of Iowa.
Six-time PGA of the Year
Yeah.
award winner, and in 1999, as you remember, it was the U.S. and even Tracy last week. I didn't realize she was in town for 3 years, putting on the U.S. Senior Championship Open, and that's when he came to town, Arnold Palmer, and saw the passion that they had for golf in the state of Iowa, because there's not a whole lot of other major sports, and that's when Arnold decided that he was going to open up his own signature course, the Tournament Club of Iowa, just north of Des Moines, Iowa. And I was blessed. I got a call one afternoon. This is in 2001, and it was from Mark Egley. And he said, "Hey, I got the king with me, and he's going to go do 18 on his own course, but none of the other media has come around. Can you get out here?" Well, I'm terrible. Imagine that, with a camera.
How old
with
were
a
you
camera.
then? How old were you then?
I don't know, 50.
That'd be 25 years younger than right now, actually.
Just
Yeah.
a few years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Just a few years
I was
ago.
about
Okay,
40,
sorry about
49.
that. Okay.
20.
Anyway,
He was 1 year old.
I've got a suit on. I was getting ready to go to a sales call. I dropped that. I grabbed a camera from my interns, and I sucked using it. And I get out there, and I actually rode around for 18 holes, only 3 or 4 carts and a handful, maybe 20 people.
Okay.
While he interacted with Dr. Tom Davis, who was the head basketball coach then at Drake University and formerly at Iowa. And it is easily the greatest afternoon I ever had.
Really?
And as well as
Mike, can you find
Mark-
that videotape?
I know,
bet
I'd
is
like
that
to
as
see that.
prestigious as that 1990 Bill Butner pro golf set?
Well,
Do you have that videotape?
For me,
Possibly
for me,
not.
man, and that's when, you've heard all the stories this week on the Golf Channel, John, and people talking about when he shook your hand, he looks you, he's sincere, and looks you in the eyes and asks you how you're doing. He means it. And I watched him do that all afternoon. Old ladies, little kids.
He just had charisma.
Well, he's that sincere.
Yeah.
And back to, and I know, John, you can share this story, his how diligent he was on signing his autograph, and I mean, very, very meticulous. And that's because he figured anybody that takes the time to get my autograph, I want to make certain that I I do a great job. And,
Well,
and
I
you
got to know,
you know that.
when I was young, growing up, I got to know Mr. Palmer as a young man. My dad, when he was a rookie in the NFL, Arnold Palmer was a rookie on the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour had a rule at that time. The PGA of America actually owned the PGA Tour at that time, and they would withhold your earnings on the PGA Tour for 6 months, even whatever you won, and then you would get paid. That's why Arnold Palmer, with his wife Winnie, had to travel around in a trailer pulled behind the car. You know, and they didn't have any money. And so it was interesting, and my dad made $1,500 as a rookie linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what he and Mr. Palmer would do, they would actually travel together in Western Pennsylvania to sports banquets, and they would both give a speech, you know, football player, golfer, and they'd make $50, and that was big money in those days. But I got to tell you a funny Arnold Palmer story that's personal to me. And when the Golf Channel, when he passed away, there's a lot of us that appeared on the Golf Channel telling stories. And one of the stories is I was out at the TPC, you know, for announcing the Champions Tour event. And there's a guy named J.C. Goosey that he's deceased now, but he was a prominent, you know, senior tour player. He owned the Space Coast Golf Tour. Bill, if he was on the show, he knows that he played it. And JC would pay me. I was the head pro at director of golf at the Bloomingdale Golfers Club. JC would pay me $100 a week to give him a golf lesson. Well, all I had to do to tell JC Goosey was just quit aiming too far right. But I had to come up with a different way every week to tell him that. So I go out there, and there's JC Goosey hitting golf balls after the first round. There's Arnold Palmer standing next to JC hitting golf balls, and there's a guy named Nate Starks. He was an African-American caddy. And I told JC in another 100 different ways, quit aiming too far right, and he starts hitting it better. Nate goes, "This is unbelievable. This is the best advice I've ever heard my man get. Here we go." And so Mr. Palmer walks over to him and he goes, "Hi, I'm Arnold Palmer." And he's, you know, I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I need an introduction, right?" I'm just like, you know, "It's Arnold Palmer. We know who it is." And he goes, "Will you look at my swing?" Well, I looked at my watch. TPC Tampa Bay is a long way from Brandon, Florida, and it's 4:30 in the afternoon, and daycare closed for my 2 kids at 5 o'clock. And if I didn't get back to Brandon, Florida from TPC, which is in Lutz, and we all know how much traffic there is, there was no way that I was going to get my kids. The state of Florida would get them. And so I said, "Mr. Palmer, I'm sorry. I got to go pick my kids up from daycare. Good luck next week.
Damn.
Good luck tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I just had a chance to give a lesson to Arnold Palmer." And my dad's you know, responsibilities kicked in at that point.
Well, bravo, and I'm sure that the king would have respected that. I'm certain that he did respect it. But everybody has a personal story, you know, if they had a chance.
Not really.
And no, I'm trying to
Just
say
a little joke.
If they have.
No. I have a great picture of Arnie with Skip Alexander in my office that I like. I can bring that next week.
We're good. I got plenty of them. But I was blessed enough to interact with him on 4 different occasions.
Yes.
And
I mean, you're from Iowa, so.
And he kept coming back to Iowa, and he absolutely loved it. Well, you know, we're winding things down. We stumbled, fumbled, and bumbled.
I feel bad about Mark. I feel like the last time he was on the show, we also had some type of issue where he got cut. Is this not true?
Yeah, we were
right?
we were back on regular radio, and the freaking
right.
computer crashed.
See, so he's had some issues. We want to send our apologies to Mark.
Sounds like
right
we're
now.
going on a road trip, Mike. Sounds like we're
know.
going up to the great state of Iowa. We're taking the camera crew with us. We're going out there. We're going to shuck some corn.
think that would be a
We're going
great
to go out
trip.
to the driving range, and we're going to have a heck of a time with Mark Eckley.
I want to
is what I
shuck
hear.
corn and play golf.
That's
Let's
it.
do
All
it.
right.
And tip a cow.
Hey, I just want out of here right now. Hey, John, you got any last words?
Go, Arnie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love the guy. As a reminder, make sure on social media, and I didn't do a good job of this, and we'll continue to. We'll improve. Make sure you go to Pound on the T Florida
Pound.
on the web.
That's a hashtag.
Pound, hashtag. That's pound to me, pal.
Okay, but let's roll back. There's a new situation.
Can I finish this?
No.
He wants to close it out.
We're on Thursdays. We're on Thursdays. We were on Wednesdays. We're on Thursdays.
If you enjoyed this so much, come back next week. Same time, same place, 6 to 8 p.m.
And I'll link and make sure that you
Social media, hashtag on the T Florida, and go on the web, www.onthetflorida.com, audio,
Oh, my
simulcast,
God,
all the
you
good
guys.
stuff.
Anyway, I'm Mike Rickard. For John Rager, Ashley Grimaldi, Champ Sharp, they both can kiss my old carcass.
Oh my gosh.
Adam Woodard, Mark Yegley, Rick Odosio was superb. I want to thank him. Joe Bedroll, RadioSt.Pete.com. Our video producer.
What about Adam, who was on here for an hour?
I know.
Can I finish?
God bless.
Adam Fernandez and our sidekick interns, Melina, Luke, and Jake. God bless you. God bless America. Have a championship weekend. And remember to hit them straight and keep it in the short grass.
I think he's done with us, Ashley. What do you think?